There is something powerful happening in the quiet corners of modern masculinity. A slow but steady awakening. Men across the world are realizing that true strength is not in how loudly they move, but in how deeply they hold presence. This presence is rare. It is the kind that doesn't just attract a woman's body, but calls her spirit to safety. The kind that helps her heal wounds she has carried for years. Before we go deeper, I invite you to join our Telegram channel. The link is in the description. That's where we dive into conversations that are too raw and real for the surface web. You will find brothers walking the same path, men working to master energy, purpose, and love. Now, let's talk about the wound. The divine feminine wound. It's the hidden ache many women carry. It's not just about heartbreak or disappointment. It's the deep mistrust born from generations of masculine energy that has been unstable, ungrounded, or absent. It's the subtle tension that says, I can't fully relax around him because he might not stay. Every woman carries traces of this, whether she knows it or not, and every man who steps into conscious energy feels it when he connects with her. It's that moment when she tests you, questions you, or withdraws emotionally. It's not because she wants to fight. It's because she's searching for something solid, something real. This is where your practice of semen retention comes in. It's not about moral superiority or trying to impress anyone. It's about energy mastery. Every time you hold that energy, you're teaching yourself emotional control, focus, and depth. You're proving to your nervous system that you don't need to chase quick pleasure to feel alive. You create stillness inside, and from that stillness, a woman feels safe. Safety is not a word many men like to talk about, but it's the foundation of everything in love and polarity. When a woman feels safe, her guard melts, her heart opens, her softness returns. She can breathe again. She can trust again. When you hold your seed, you're not suppressing desire. You're cultivating power. Think of it like tending a fire. A man who burns too fast loses his warmth quickly, but a man who tends the fire carefully becomes a steady source of light. His woman can warm herself by that fire. She can rest there. That is what semen retention does. It stabilizes your energy field. It brings consistency to your presence. And consistency is the language of trust. When your energy doesn't fluctuate wildly between lust and depletion, she feels your steadiness. She might not have the words for it, but she feels it in her body. That is when healing begins. Every woman who comes into contact with a man practicing this kind of grounded discipline experiences something unfamiliar. It confuses her at first. She's used to men who want to consume her energy. She is used to being desired physically, but rarely seen spiritually. When she meets a man who can hold desire without needing to act on it, she starts to sense a new kind of safety. In that space, her nervous system begins to unwind. The constant hypervigilance that told her she must protect herself begins to quiet down. Her heart begins to trust. Her feminine essence begins to flow freely. She becomes more radiant, more playful, more at peace. And it happens not because you fixed her, but because your energy gave her room to heal. This is what many men don't realize. Your retention practice is not just for you. It's a service to the divine feminine. It's a gift to every woman you meet, even if you never touch her. When your energy is controlled, women can feel it. They sense the difference between a man who leaks energy and one who radiates it. Retention transforms how you move through the world. Your eyes change. Your tone changes. Your presence expands. You stop looking for validation and start embodying purpose. And that's when life itself begins to respond differently to you. Opportunities start aligning. People start respecting you more without knowing why. The sexual energy you contain becomes creative fuel. That energy was never meant only for sex. It's the same life force that drives art, innovation, and leadership. When you learn to channel it, you stop being a slave to your impulses. You become a creator. You become a builder of realities. At this point, let me gently remind you, if you've been finding value in this message, you can show support using the thanks button. Every contribution helps us keep creating deeper, more transformative content. It's never about the size of the gesture. It's about the energy behind it. Your presence and support truly matter. Now, let's return to the deeper understanding of the feminine wound. Many men try to heal women by fixing them, advising them, or rescuing them. That doesn't work. Healing cannot be forced. It must happen in a space of trust. What creates that trust is not your words, but your energetic integrity. When you hold your seed, you are signaling that you have mastery over yourself. That mastery is what tells her, I am safe here. The feminine tests a man not to punish him, but to see if he can stay rooted when she sways. She wants to know if you are strong enough to remain grounded when her emotions rise. Retention builds that grounding. It gives you a reservoir of patience and calm. You stop reacting. You start responding. This shift changes how arguments unfold, how intimacy deepens, and how love matures. You no longer fear her emotions. You welcome them. You hold space for her storms without losing your center. That is true masculine power. In a world where men are encouraged to chase and consume, a man who holds energy becomes magnetic. He doesn't pursue, he attracts. He doesn't need validation. He embodies value. This doesn't mean he becomes detached or cold. Quite the opposite. He becomes more compassionate, more aware, more emotionally intelligent. Because he is no longer drained, he can give more presence. Presence is the highest form of masculine love. When you look at her without needing anything, she feels seen. When you touch her without trying to take, she feels cherished. When you listen without trying to fix, she feels understood. Those are the sacred moments that restore her faith and love. Retention sharpens your intuition, too. You start noticing subtle shifts in energy, mood, and connection. You become attuned to her emotional language. You begin to feel her before she speaks. That sensitivity doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It connects you to the deeper intelligence of polarity. The modern world has confused lust with intimacy, but real intimacy is built on trust. Lust burns hot and fast. Trust burns deep and long. Semen retention rewires your brain to value depth over intensity. It shifts you from seeking stimulation to seeking connection. And when that shift happens, love transforms from a battlefield into a sanctuary. You might notice that as you practice retention, women start opening up to you more easily. They tell you things they never told anyone. They feel drawn to your calm energy. That's not manipulation. That's resonance. You're carrying energy that communicates safety on a subconscious level. Understand something profound here. Healing the feminine wound is not about worshiping women or putting them on a pedestal. It's about restoring balance. When the masculine heals himself, the feminine naturally heals in his presence. This is polarity at its purest. Two forces dancing in harmony, not competition. But retention is not easy. It will challenge every part of your mind that has been programmed for instant gratification. There will be urges, doubts, and moments of frustration. Yet every time you rise above them, you strengthen your inner spine. You teach yourself that pleasure is a choice, not a command. That mastery echoes through every area of life. You'll notice improved focus, sharper memory, deeper sleep, and greater vitality. But more importantly, you'll feel a new sense of clarity. You'll start seeing through the noise of the world. You'll understand people better. You'll act with more purpose. The energy you conserve becomes the currency of transformation. Remember, retention is not abstinence. It's transmutation. You're not rejecting your sexuality. You, refining Italiano. You're taking raw sexual energy and transforming it into spiritual and creative power. You're learning to hold desire without being consumed by it. That's what separates a conscious man from a reactive one. When a woman meets a man who has mastered this art, her system recognizes it instantly. She might not say it out loud, but she feels a sense of relief. The kind that whispers, I can finally rest here. That is the moment when healing begins. You become a mirror that reflects her beauty instead of her pain. And when she feels safe, she rises. Her radiance amplifies yours. Together, you create a frequency of love that heals both masculine and feminine. That's the true alchemy of sacred union. This journey is not for everyone. It requires discipline, patience, and deep self. But if you commit to it, the rewards go beyond pleasure or attraction. You become a force of peace in a world of chaos. You become a sanctuary in human form. The retention path is not about suppressing life. It's about channeling life. It's about holding the divine fire with reverence. It's about becoming the man whose energy heals without words, whose silence speaks of safety, and whose presence invites trust. As you walk this path, remember that you are not just improving yourself. You are contributing to a collective healing. Every man who learns to hold his energy helps restore balance to the world. Every act of discipline ripples outward. Every woman who feels safe in your presence begins to heal generations of pain. That is the quiet revolution happening now. And if this message resonates with you, if it speaks to something ancient within you, consider supporting this work through the thanks button below. Every contribution, no matter how small, helps us reach more men ready to rise into conscious masculinity. This is your reminder. The path of semen retention is not about denial. It's about devotion. Devotion to purpose, presence, and the power to heal. The divine feminine is not looking for perfection. She's looking for safety. When you embody that safety, she remembers who she truly is. Your energy becomes medicine. Your silence becomes stability. Your presence becomes home. That is the work of a conscious man. That is how your retention becomes her healing. That is how the masculine restores trust in the world. Walk with that knowing. Carry it like a quiet flame in your chest. Be the calm she can trust. Be the presence she can rest in. And remember, your discipline is not just for you. It's for the world that needs men like you to stand steady. That is the essence of this message. The divine feminine wound is not healed through words, but through the energy of conscious men who choose mastery over impulse. Your seed is sacred. Hold it wisely. Live with power and led with presence.